Lads, Deely's dilemmas. Here's the first one. I'm on the way to work here in QPR. Selectors. What do you reckon? Waste of time? Would you be better off with specialised people? How many of them in a club do you want? Do you want odd number? Yes men? People who will challenge you? Have a think about it. Get back to me. Create a bit of discussion. I'll chip in with a few ideas maybe later. So the first one that we spoke about was the dilemma of selectors in Gaelic football. I asked you what did you think, and I'd chip in with a few ideas afterwards. So we got some brilliant feedback. Deely's dilemmas number one was selectors in GAA. Are they useful? How many would you have? What type of people? What type of recruitment you have in the club? Do you use them? Are you the boss? Do you listen to them? Do you want people who challenge you? Do you want yes men or women? And we got really good discussion back. So in the group that we've set up for members only of 6-month and 12-month packages on the group, everybody was getting over and back, putting out some ideas. Great stuff, really enjoyed it. I loved the way people were giving personal experiences from different county teams, club teams, different sports. Some people who've been managers, others have been coaches. Really good stuff, really enjoyed it. The thing that I was thinking about, thinking back to my own experience with London County team, was I didn't want to bring in my friends. I didn't want just people that I got on well with. Number one, I definitely didn't want people who were yes men or yes women. I wanted people who challenged me. The second thing that I thought about was I wanted specific people for specific roles. So somebody is good at a given role and then I'd give them that. Third thing, selectors, in my mind, that term even is gone out of fashion. So if I think of the soccer world where I work in professional sport, there's no such thing as a selector. There's the manager, the head coach, the assistant coach, and then a number of specialist people like goalkeeping coach, opposition analyst and stuff like that. And to me, that's what works really well. So that was the third thing, specialist roles. The fourth thing was that I wanted people to challenge me all the time. So people who would question and say, right, how can we make this better? That session wasn't good enough. And I wanted people to come and say to me, do you know what? I would have done this slightly differently. And that's what I wanted. But there's a line there, and that the manager must be the manager. Ultimately, the manager is the one who was given the role in the first place. And second of all, if results go badly, you're the one who's probably going to lose your position, lose your job, whether it's club or county or whatever sport. So it's important that there is ultimately one person who decides. The old-fashioned way, in my mind, of 5 selectors and the majority wins out about who you want to pick in what positions, lads, that's gone way back in the past. That's well gone at this stage. To me, the manager ultimately decides. He or she asks the question, gets back feedback from people, takes on information, but ultimately then, makes the final decision. The other thing that I tried to do always was that have specific people in specific roles. So somebody may not be a good coach, but they may be amazing at organising stuff. Great, they can look after operations, text messages, equipment, stuff like that. Another person who may not be particularly a good coach out on the pitch, or maybe not have that rapport or wherever it is, they might be really insightful eye. You know that person down the club who's like a quiet person in the corner, but when they speak, everybody listens and they have real good insight about opposition teams or players or whatever it is. Fantastic. Get them looking at your games, the videos, but also get them looking at opposition teams and you'll get loads of great insight from them then also. The other thing is somebody might be a really good coach. Brilliant. Give them freedom and responsibility to coach the team then and to step in and do different parts. The other thing you might have down the club is a young S&C coach or sports scientist or analyst. Fantastic. Get them involved as well. Give them a specific role. In other words, what you can do down in your club, there's so many good people in clubs nowadays that you can take on board. You don't give them loads and loads of responsibility of doing everything, but you can give them one specific role and say, okay, this is your job. I'm going to oversee everything, obviously as the manager or the head coach, but this is your role, and let's run with it and see how you develop in time. The interesting thing is, in the clubs, there are architects, engineers, people who own their companies, builders, sports people, teachers, a whole range of people in all the clubs. So I would say always use those people as much as possible. A lot of people with a lot of skills, and so you can use those people in those specific roles. So remember, don't just go and get your best friend, your mate who you used to play with. Think about how can that person specifically fit into your role. And I think when you think that way, you're on to a winner. Because ultimately, your job is to maximize performance, to make sure that your team you're put in the position to be the best and to try and win games and develop and everything like that. So for me, I take my experience from professional football, professional soccer world, where there's specific roles for specific people, but ultimately with the manager in charge. For you in GA, might be slightly different, but in some ways it's best practice as well. The old days of selectors are probably gone. If you can get people to coach, brilliant, okay, get them involved, but you've other people to do lots of different jobs. The last thing that I would mention as well is that you can have lots of people involved, but you don't have to have a huge cohort of people on the sideline. So for instance, for me, I would have a manager, I'd have 2 coaches, and then also I'd have, to back that up, I'd have a goalkeeping coach and maybe somebody who helps out with logistics or opposition analysis if I'm with a club. If I'm with a county team, it's different, you can have more people. But ultimately then you have your core group of probably manager plus 2 selectors. You've got your 3, maybe a 4th, okay? And that would be it. But me personally, I would go with myself and 2 coaches. And that's your core group. You can have lots of people around you then helping out in training, everything like that. And alongside that, remember, it's good to have people there in the training ground. And when they come down to training, don't have them sitting around watching, everything like that, standing around. Get them involved. They have to get the waters, the balls, the cones. More people like that, the merrier. And I think it creates a really good buzz. Okay, so I've enjoyed the number 1, Deely's Dilemmas. It's not too long, probably way too long, but we try and cut them down. Remember, anybody who's not signed up to the website, go on over deelysportscience.com. Really good offers for membership, and also yearly planners there for sale. Special offers for the members, as always. We like to look after the members as much as possible. And if you sign up, come into the WhatsApp group. Great discussion going on every day. Lots of resources. And until the next Deely Dilemma, enjoy the content and good chatting to you. See you later.